In the time that I've lived in Osawatomie, I've heard lots of stories about all the businesses the town used to have and all that Osawatomie used to be. The stories further go that everything changed with the downfall of the railroad and the state hospital as major employers in Osawatomie, laying the blame for Osawatomie's current state at the feet of those big businesses dropping their level of involvement in Osawatomie. This view leads to the perception that what Osawatomie needs is another big business to come in, provide everyone a job, and save Osawatomie. Well, I've heard all of this before, but not here. Before living in Kansas, I lived in Hanna, Wyoming, and Hanna had many of the same stories. Stories like, you just wouldn't believe all the stores and businesses that were in Hanna back in the day, when the coal mine was still operational. Just as with Osawatomie with the railroad and state hospital, Hanna was entirely dependent on the coal mine. Well, things at the coal mine got dangerous, and after a number of incidents and encountering too many pockets of deadly gases underground, the mine was closed for safety reasons, despite the fact that there was still a lot of high-quality coal left in the ground. Shortly after the mine closed, Sears, the car dealership, and all of the other chain stores and restaurants in town packed up and left because the big money from the coal mine was gone. Still, Hanna limped on, with the only thing keeping the town alive being the extremely low housing prices, which is what attracted my family, and the massive drag line that the coal company had left behind, standing as a visual reminder of the coal mining days and keeping the hope alive that maybe one day the coal mine would return. When the drag line was finally disassembled and scrapped, and the company came back to fill in the mines with concrete, the reality finally sank in that the coal mine was never returning, and now Hanna is a dying has-been town that only deteriorates and whose only asset seems to be its remoteness for people who don't want to have to deal with society and want to live somewhere cheap. It's a great place to raise your kids, but don't expect your kids to stick around when they grow up because there's no future there. This has been the fate of many a small town in America, and in many ways it's the fate that awaits Osawatomie if it stays on its current course. But it doesn't have to be that way. While living in Hanna, I had hoped and intended to help turn the town around and bring it back to life because I could see how it was possible, and I believed in Hanna and the people there. Unfortunately, health problems in our family made it so that we had to leave, and our efforts died before I could do all the good that I wanted to. I didn't want to revitalize the town through government or through big business coming in. Those solutions aren't solutions that last. Instead, I wanted to revive and restore the town through building the local small business community. Many believe that without big money and big business, a town's economy can't survive. And while this may seem to be supported by the large number of towns that have suffered the death of the town after the departure of a massive employer, it simply isn't true. The small town of Ashland, Pennsylvania once had a coal mine employing and feeding the town, and just like in Hanna, the coal mine closed and all those jobs were lost. Rather than waiting for a big business to come in, however, the people of Ashland turned instead to building their small business community and supporting their small business community from within, and the result has been a town that isn't full of millionaires, but that is alive and doing well, providing for the families who live there. They do pull in a fair amount of tourism dollars, but not because they put in walking trails, but entirely because the people of Ashland focused on helping and participating in their own small business community, and that alone is so unique in our overly processed, chain-infested, top-down world that it alone is worth people coming to see and experience. It's enough to completely change the destiny of a town that is dying because it lost its major employer. In my bid to be the next mayor of Osawatomie, I've been very open about my intention to eliminate the position of city manager because of how it limits the liberty of the people of Osawatomie and makes their government unaccountable to and therefore dismissive of the people of Osawatomie. Now, I realize that this would put our current city manager, Brett Glendenning, out of a job, and it might sound like I'm going after him personally. Not only have I refrained from attacking him personally at any point in my campaigning, however, but I don't want him to go anywhere. I do want his power to be turned over to the positions that are accountable to the people, but I want him to stay right here in Osawatomie, take his knowledge and experience, and start a small business of his own to add to Osawatomie and make it even better. He may disagree right now, but in this role, he would actually do more good for Osawatomie than he is even capable of in his current role. Bringing in big business lets us be dependent on big business. And then when the big business leaves, as happens time and time again, the town is thrown into turmoil and ruin. Working together to build the small business community of Osawatomie, we can make Osawatomie stronger, more self-reliant, and have a brighter future than Osawatomie has ever had for all residents of Osawatomie. We don't need anyone to come save us. We just need to care enough to save ourselves and each other. Our current government is trying to bring in big business. I don't believe in big business or trying to recapture lost nostalgia. I believe in the people of Osawatomie because I choose to, and because I know that the people of Osawatomie can do it. I invite you all to join me in this effort. Thank you for watching, and please write in Oliver Tanner for Mayor of Osawatomie.